I don't remember the exact moment it happened, when life quietly shifted from forever to almost over. Maybe it was the day I noticed her hands trembling when she poured her tea. Or the day I found her sitting silently on the porch, staring at nothing, the vibrant spark in her eyes dimmed. Or maybe it was me who didn't want to see it, the way time was stealing her from me, one quiet breath at a time. But what I do remember, with a clarity that cuts like glass, is this. I never gave my mother the last hug she deserved. For as long as I can remember, my mother was my home. Not the house we lived in, not the small town where everyone knew our names. It was her. Her voice, soft but strong, could calm every storm in my heart. Her hands, always busy, carried the weight of the world, yet they were always gentle when they touched me. I was her only child. My father left when I was 6, leaving her with bills, broken promises, and a little boy who needed everything. She never complained. She worked 2 jobs, mornings at the bakery, nights cleaning offices, yet somehow she always had time for me. I still remember those late nights when she'd come home, tired and smelling faintly of cleaning chemicals, and find me pretending to be asleep. She'd kiss my forehead and whisper, "You're my reason, baby. Always my reason." Back then, I believed she'd live forever. Mothers do, don't they? Started small. She'd forget where she put her keys or leave the stove on. "Just getting old," she'd laugh, brushing off my concern. But then came the fainting spells, the doctor visits, the quiet phone calls where her voice trembled, but she'd quickly change the subject when I entered the room. When I finally dragged the truth out of her, she smiled through her tears. "It's just a little sickness," she said, as though cancer was something you could brush off like dust on your shoulder. I was 25 then, busy building my career, telling myself I was doing it for her, to give her the life she deserved. I promised I'd take her on trips, buy her a little house by the sea, maybe even get her that small bakery she always dreamed of. I didn't realize that while I was planning her future, her time was quietly running out. The hospital became our second home. The sterile smell of antiseptic clung to my clothes, and the rhythmic beeping of machines became the background music to my life. She never wanted me to see her pain, so she wore her brightest smile when I visited. "How's work, baby?" she'd ask, her voice thin but warm. "Good, Mom." "Busy," I'd reply, too afraid to let her see how scared I was. Sometimes I'd cut my visits short. There was always something to do. A meeting, a deadline, some meaningless task that I told myself was important. "I'll stay longer next time," I'd promise. But there were fewer and fewer next times. I remember the call. It came at 5:47 a.m. on a rainy Tuesday. The nurse's voice was calm, too calm. "You should come," she said. I drove like a madman, praying, bargaining, promising God anything if he'd just let me get there in time. When I walked into her room, she was lying so still, her skin pale against the white sheets. She opened her eyes when she heard my footsteps, and for a moment it was just us, like every other moment in my life when I'd needed her. "Hi, baby," she whispered. Her voice was barely a thread of sound, but it was enough to break me. I wanted to run to her, to hold her, to give her that one last hug and tell her everything I'd never said out loud. But my feet stayed frozen. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was denial. Maybe some part of me believed that if I didn't say goodbye, she wouldn't actually go. Instead, I sat by her bed, holding her hand. Her fingers, once so strong, now felt like fragile paper. "You're going to be okay, Mom," I lied, forcing a smile. She just looked at me, a small, knowing smile curving her lips. Then she said the words that haunt me to this day. "I love you, baby. Don't forget that. And don't waste your life being afraid to love. Promise me that." I nodded, unable to speak. And then, like the slow fading of a sunset, she was gone. And I never hugged her. The days that followed were a blur of condolences, flowers, and paperwork. People kept telling me how strong I was, how proud she'd be. I smiled, nodded, thanked them. But inside I was breaking. Every corner of the house screamed her name. The kitchen smelled of her favorite jasmine tea. Her sweater still hung on the back of the chair by the window, where she'd sit every morning to read the paper. I kept replaying that last moment in my head. Me frozen, her waiting. If I could just go back, even for a second, I'd run to her. I'd hold her so tight she'd feel every ounce of love I'd ever had for her. But life doesn't give you rewinds. Only memories. A week after the funeral I found it. A letter tucked into the drawer of her nightstand. My name was written on the envelope in her delicate handwriting. It began simply. Baby, if you're reading this, it means I'm not there anymore, at least not the way I used to be. I know you're blaming yourself for not doing enough, for not saying enough, for not hugging me enough. But, sweetheart, you gave me everything. Your laughter, your stubbornness, your kindness. Those were my hugs every single day. Don't waste your life drowning in what? Love. Life. And when you miss me, just close your eyes and feel the arms that held you every day of your life. I'll always be there. Always. With all my love, Mom. I cried until my chest ached. But for the first time, there was something softer beneath the grief. A sense of peace. Grief doesn't disappear. Softens maybe, but it never leaves. Some days, I still reach for the phone to call her. Some nights, I still dream of her voice, telling me everything will be okay. But I've started living the way she wanted. Take walks by the sea. I volunteer at the community center she loved. I tell the people I love how much they mean to me, every single chance I get. And sometimes when the world is quiet, I feel her near. In the warmth of the morning sun, in the smell of jasmine, in the quiet strength that somehow keeps me going. I never gave my mother that last hug. But maybe in some way I carry it with me. The hug I owed her, the love I still have for her, the lessons she left behind. Life is too short to hold back your love. Hug your people. Say the words. Be present. Because one day, without warning, that chance will be gone. And when that day comes, all you'll want is one more moment. One more chance to hold them close. Even now, years later, I sometimes sit by her favorite window, close my eyes, and imagine her arms around me. And though I can't feel her the way I used to, there's a warmth, a quiet comfort that tells me what her letter tried to say all along. I never gave her that last hug. But somehow she gave me enough for a lifetime.